And no matter how badly treated we are, still, we are proud to, because at least we are free, instead of enslaved, as so many of the so-called government officials.
And so you see, when a Vietnamese works for peace and for liberty, he is considered a communist. It is an honor for the communists to have to work for peace and justice. So it is the government which gives validity to being a communist, because they continue to say that the people who work for justice and for peace are communists. You see?
We were learning to be good soldiers back when you're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. That's where good old mom is telling you to obey the local camp regulations. In this case, it's the house. And you start to learn to respect authority. And so finally, lo and behold, at 20, 22 years old, you find yourself in service, and you maybe take that last and final step where you become quite regimented in a military form of discipline. Like I say, that stuff isn't worth the paper it's written on if the basis isn't there. You need that cornerstone that goes back when you're a kid, and who's teaching it to you? But good old moms, women like yourselves. It's terrifying, it's true, when you're facing a torture session with a bunch of gooks. It's going to be pretty darn miserable, and there's no doubt about it. You're scared. You're really petrified. But at the other side, you have a bunch of women back there that know that they're telling you better do something, you know, and that's the wrath of God. What you don't want is 100 women climbing down your back. So you figure maybe the gooks aren't so bad. So you press on. In many respects, the destiny of our country, and more personally, the destiny of me, your men, your children, is in your hands. If you are proud of the POWs and personally of me, then you should be proud of yourselves, because I was what you made me to be.
As for my own view, I thought through as best I could the meaning of Southeast Asia, the United States in the 1950s, looking backward and looking forward in terms of what I know about the dynamics of societies and so on. And on balance, it is an on-balance judgment. I came to the judgment that it's a vital interest of the United States. I've never had any reason to change that judgment. And therefore, I do believe that what we have done is generally right, although I would have preferred to have seen a different, more decisive military strategy.
Certainly, to me, the day that you can say that a sacrifice such as that is not worthwhile is the day that you've destroyed all your real values of what is worthwhile and what isn't. And there's no question in my mind that he and everybody else that did what he did, there is no sacrifice that was in vain, absolutely none. That down the line, that's the price that you pay for freedom, and that's the price that you pay for the kind of stature that we have, and it's the kind of risk you take to preserve the ideals that we have.
He had just a tremendous sense of humor and just an amazing instinctive sense of what was important and what wasn't. I remember when I was getting ready for our oldest daughter's wedding, and I was upset because something or other wasn't going well, and he called up from Pensacola and he said, "How are things going?" And I said, "Fine, Bing, but such and such has happened." He said, "Oh, Mom, don't sweat the small stuff." And, you know, it just made all the difference. I thought, gee, that really is small stuff, you know. And it was. And it made the whole thing much easier.
And, of course, I came up in a tradition where military service was, in World War II, there was no question everybody was part of it. There was not the kind of dissension and so forth that there has been surrounding the Vietnam thing. But I think that most of the people of this country are too busy to get involved deeply in the kind of things that the dissenters do. In other words, I think really the strength of our system, and I think it's a terrific system, is that you do rely on somebody like President Nixon for leadership. I think his team of people with him are outstanding, and to me, the leadership that he has shown and decisions that he has made really have, they're the kind of decisions I would expect from the president of this country. And the action he has taken is the action I'd expect from the president of this country. I think the whole executive, legislative, and judicial system that we have is superb. It has worked far better than any other system I'm aware of, and brought us to a state of power and really of international stature that we have a responsibility to stay with and to uphold.
What did your son want to become?
I suspect he would have gone into the newspaper. He actually had just got a job with the New York Times when he went into the OCS. And he'd worked for newspapers in the summer while he was at college. I suppose that it's like any pain, you don't remember pain too well afterwards.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Dear people, I'm thrilled to be here with you guys. This is what I like, a captive audience.
It is always the custom at a dinner at the White House to have a toast to the honored guest. The difficulty tonight is that there are so many honored guests that we would be drinking all night and into the day. Somebody just said, what's wrong with that? The most difficult decision that I have made since being president was on December the 18th of last year. And there were many occasions in that 10-day period after the decision was made when I wondered whether the country really supported it. But I can tell you this, after having met each one of our honored guests this evening, after having talked to them, I think that all of us would like to join in a round of applause for the brave men that took those B-52s in and did the job.
My 8-year-old daughter was killed, and my 3-year-old son. Nixon, murderer of civilians. What have I done to Nixon so that he comes here to bomb my country? My daughter died right here. She was feeding the pigs. She was so sweet. She is dead. The pigs are alive. My mother and my children took shelter here. Here they died.
Mẹ tôi chết ở cái hầm này đây.